In the opening scene, a climber walks out of his tent on a snowy mountain and discovers something weird from a distance. He moves up to what looks to be a luminous spherical and touches its surface. A dazzling light shines down on him, knocking him out. When he awakens, he discovers a scar on his hand from where his DNA was extracted, but the luminous object has vanished. Helen is an astrobiologist who teaches her students about bacteria. When the lesson is over, Helen returns to her home, where she lives with her 8-year-old stepson Jacob. Jacob treasures his personal possessions, implying that Helen's husband is no longer with them. While preparing dinner, she receives a phone call from the government requesting her immediate aid. She opens the front door to find government officials encircling her home. She has no choice but to leave her son with a neighbor and get in the car. She wants to know what's going on, but the agent can't reveal anything at the moment. She gets at the military airstrip and boards the helicopter, where a group of scientists from various professions have gathered. When they arrive at a makeshift military base, she is greeted by Michael, a NASA officer and old friend of hers, who takes her to a briefing about what's going on. An object traveling at 1/10 the speed of light appears to have entered the solar system and changed its course towards Earth just moments ago. They have around 70 minutes until impact, and the government intends to shoot missiles at it to avoid colliding with Earth. Helen phones Jacob and advises him to hide in the basement because she is worried for her kid, but she recognizes that if impact comes, there is nowhere anyone can hide from this calamity. The military transports the scientists near to the anticipated impact zone, but as the asteroid approaches the Earth, their missile launches fail, rendering their only defense ineffective. Surprisingly, as it reaches Earth, the object slows down. A huge blazing light appears in the sky and flies towards the public park, landing in front of everyone. They get closer to the object, which looks to be the same sphere from the beginning of the film but much larger. The military surrounds the object, pointing guns at it and ready to shoot at any time. The sphere shines brightly as a creature silhouette approaches. Helen advances in surprise and attempts to make a touch, but a gunshot is heard, and the monster falls to the ground while Helen embraces it in her arms. Suddenly, a tall robot appears and begins turning down all military weapons. It then screeches loudly, paralyzing everyone. It tries to attack Helen but is stopped by the alien's instructions and moves back. The military reintroduces the extraterrestrial into their laboratory and makes every effort to save the creature. Although they are successful in regulating its heartbeat, the exterior skin begins to peel off, and they are surprised to see a human lying in space. Simultaneously, a swarm of other sphere-like structures has landed on Earth, spreading to every part of the globe. The satellite system has also been damaged, rendering the military inoperable. The experts discover that the alien collected DNA samples from animals on Earth and was effectively reincarnated into a human body in order to survive on the planet. The alien's body has likewise expanded enormously, and he is now the age of an adult guy. They approach the now aware extraterrestrial and demand to know what he is doing on Earth. His name is Klaatu, and he represents a group of civilizations that exist all over the world. He wants to address the United Nations, but Regina, the U.S. Defense Secretary, disagrees. She asks him what he wants from our globe, to which he replies that people do not own the Earth. Frustrated by Klaatu's apparent disobedience, Regina prepares to sedate and torture him with everyone's permission. Helen disobeys her order to sedate Klaatu, instead injecting water into his system and telling him to run. They imprison the extraterrestrial for a lying test, but Klaatu manages to free himself using electrokinesis powers and escapes the military base. He arrives at the train station with plans to depart, but falls to the ground due to the gun wounds he received earlier. He dials Helen's number, and she rushes to the station to pick him up with Jacob. She inquires if he is a friend to people, to which Klaatu responds that he is a friend to Earth. On the other hand, the military makes every attempt to eliminate the huge humanoid, but their attacks are ineffective because the machine destroys all human weapons. While Helen is driving, Klaatu has a talk with Jacob. The stepson is extremely hostile to the extraterrestrial and believes that humanity should immediately kill him. He's curious what Klaatu thinks humanity should do with this alien. Klaatu, on the other hand, does not believe humans have a choice. Klaatu encounters another alien from their civilization at a McDonald's. They discuss humanity's vicious propensity, and how humans appear to be unable of changing. Klaatu determines to carry out his plan to destroy human civilization after receiving confirmation from his previous experience. Surprisingly, the other extraterrestrial refuses to leave Earth, despite the fact that he will perish alongside humans. He feels that despite all of the negative elements that humans exhibit, they still have a positive side that should be treasured. He adores the family he's created on this world and cannot bear the thought of abandoning them. While they wait in the car, Helen drives the alien to another site. Klaatu walks over to a pond and summons a sphere from beneath the water. Animals from all over the world begin to enter the spheres, and they all gradually rise away from Earth into the atmosphere, accompanied by dazzling lights. The only sphere that does not appear to have departed is the largest, which is guarded by the human-wide machine. Klaatu emerges from the trees, and Helen begs him to tell her what is going on. The alien reveals that humans are harming the Earth and that he has come to preserve it. There are only a few planets in the universe capable of supporting life, and Earth is far too vital to be destroyed. A police officer locates them while they fight over what to do with humanity, but when he tries to arrest the alien, Klaatu murders him immediately. He is able to resuscitate him, however, because he merely wanted the officer out of the way and did not want to murder him unnecessarily. Helen and her stepson are both shocked and terrified by his conduct. Helen begs him to spare mankind because she believes that people can change. Klaatu disagrees, claiming that his attempts to talk with the human leaders culminated in violence. Helen soon clarifies that Regina does not represent humanity, and that she would gladly transport him to someone who does. On the other hand, government operatives have finally deduced that the spheres are ships attempting to save the animals on Earth, but they are concerned that what follows would wipe out humanity. They capture the humanoid machine without using violence and take it to their basement facility. Helen takes Klaatu to visit a Nobel Prize-winning physicist, and Klaatu proves his knowledge of the cosmos by effortlessly solving the equations on the chalkboard. The man quickly recognizes him as the extraterrestrial from the news, and they have a lengthy discussion on human nature. The physicist believes that humanity can adapt and learn from its mistakes if it is driven to the verge of extinction. Similarly, when they had to save their dying kid, Klaatu's culture underwent drastic transformations. The physicist begs Klaatu not to take away this time in history when humanity can finally transcend into something better. Their discussion is cut short when the military appears surrounding the facility, as Jacob refers to it, due to his animosity toward the extraterrestrial. They attempt to flee the house and into the bush, but Helen is apprehended and taken away by helicopters. 2 more helicopters approach and ready to shoot at Klaatu, but he uses his talents to disable them and send them plummeting to the ground. Fearful of what he has just witnessed the alien do, Jacob flees in the opposite way, believing Klaatu is after him, but he trips and nearly falls to his death. Klaatu protects the youngster and gently instructs him to proceed away from the danger. Klaatu accepts to Jacob's request that the alien transport him home. Helen is taken before the Secretary of Defense. Helen claims that the only way to save humanity is for Klaatu to believe that they can change. Regina ignores her pleadings and begins to smash the humanoid robot. The scientists attempt to continue doing experiments on the alien machine, but each attempt fails. The worker within the room begins to bleed as his suit is chewed up by the humanoid's nanoscopic robotics. They panic and try to burn everything, but the robot remains unscathed as everything around it begins to degrade at the molecular level. The nanobots pour out of the military base, destroying everything while growing in size as they consume and duplicate. After learning that their facility has been destroyed, Regina decides to let Helen depart as a final attempt to save humanity from annihilation. Helen is able to contact her son, and Jacob arranges for them to meet at a location of his choosing. After being saved by the alien, Jacob begins to see him differently and apologizes for attempting to murder him before. Jacob takes Klaatu to the cemetery where his father was buried, where they will meet his mother. He begs the alien to resurrect his father, but Klaatu informs him that there are some things he cannot do. Klaatu advises Jacob not to be sad because nothing truly dies in this reality. Instead, they merely morph into something else. Jacob orders Clota to leave as he kneels in sorrow, feeling helpless. Jacob sobs in front of the gravestone, but Helen arrives and attempts to console him. They both admit how much they miss Jacob's father and embrace as tears pour from their eyes. Clota observes the mother and boy and comes to sympathize with their grief. He begins to realize that humans are more than just devastation. He chooses to give humans another chance, but is doubtful whether he will be able to halt the nanobots. Michael leads them to the sphere while military units pursue them from behind. As they approach, a barrage of missiles is fired at their vehicle, flipping it over. Michael is killed in the crash, but Clota flees to safety with Helen and Jacob. The nanobots swarm towards the park, blocking off the sunshine. As the nanobots infiltrate Jacob's body, he feels weak and faint. The mother begs the alien to save her kid, which Clota accomplishes by encasing the nanites in his own body. He looks at Helen and tells her that the physicist was correct about humans changing at the precipice, and then he enters the cloud of nanobots to disable them. Clota emits a bright light and is swallowed by the nanites, causing a tremendous shock wave to deactivate everything around them. All of the nanobots plummet from the sky, as has everything electronic on the globe. Helen and Jacob stroll towards the park, staring in awe at the sphere. The object levitates and eventually departs from Earth, providing humans with a second chance, bringing the movie to the end. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recap. Until next time, have a nice day.